Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another installment of Flyera Gonna Flyera. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit a milestone. Episode number 50. Yeah, sound the alarms. We're 50 episodes in, guys. It's been awesome so far. We've had an awesome time, doing this whole process with you guys along the way. 50 episodes. This is an incredible achievement. I'm so happy to have gotten to this point. We got a fantastic show for you today. We're going to be going over a bunch of things today. We're going to be doing our over-under point totals that we are going to be continuing from last episode. We did the top 6 last time, so we're going to concentrate more on the bottom 6 today, as well as get our co-host Jamey Baskow's top 6 opinion. So we're going to start actually with that technically. We're going to give an opinion on the Brier rebuild thus far and where it is. If there's something we change, if we like it as a whole, if we feel like there's some issues with it, just kind of a summarization point. And we're going to have a little bit of a mini topic, look back to the pod as a whole, and maybe just give our favorite memories from the podcast in general. If there's a moment from the pod that really stands out that we loved or didn't love, or, that just really connects to us in those first 50 episodes that we've done. And then at the end of the episode, this is something I hyped up big time last week. We have a massive special guest announcement that will be made at the very end of the episode. I'm not giving anything away right now, so you're going to have to sit back, get ready, and enjoy this because we've got something big to announce at the end of the episode. But that's enough out of me. I'm a big mouth. I got another awesome co-host with me today. You know him, you love him, the seasoned vet, Mr. Jamey Baskow. Jamey.
Hello, mahalo. How's everybody doing? Bit busy. Summer's winding down. We are close to Flyers hockey. 46 days. And don't worry, it's even less than that because we got rookie camp around the corner. People are going to have fun. This is Noah. But rookie camp's around the corner and then followed by training camp. Don't forget the 2 rookie series games on the 12th and 13th of September.
It's coming so quick. And, hey, Noah, can we get a Let's Go Flyers from you?
No.
Denver. Let's do it. Let's go Flyers. They're not.
Come on, guys.
They just like to see people talk. I think right now they're in the Eagles. Noah's playing tackle football, so I think he's into football mode right now. So his first game is under the lights on September 5th. And, he's pretty pumped. But what I wanted to say was Denver Barkey will be in town this week. It looks like all the rookies, they're all pretty much coming back this week. Travis Konechny comes back this week. He comes back, usually at the beginning of September. So he should be back this week. Everyone's starting to trickle back. It's that time.
It's time.
Oliver Bonk's been in Philly the whole summer. I mean, Heike Reunion's been in Philly the whole summer. Fortunately, not many vets, and that's a good thing, right? Because there haven't been many injuries. Jamie Drysdale, he's been in his hometown, pretty much. He's off-season training. Yeah, this is a glimpse that hockey's around the corner.
It's getting close. Usually when that second week of football starts, the hockey players are really ramping up training camp. It's getting close. It's getting very close. And, before you know it, we'll be talking about regular season games for sure. We got some good news. Actually, a couple days ago, Tyson Forster looks like he will be ready for opening night per Danny Brier. Bill Meltzer came out with that report. I just wanted to mention that in case if anyone missed it. So Tyson Forster, awesome news that he is going to be ready for when the season begins per Bill Meltzer from Danny Brier. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Just an FYI, as mentioned last week, no Eric this week. He will be away. He will be back next episode, though, so it's only a temporary leave. But listen, we got enough Flyers hockey to talk about right now. Let's get into this. So last week we did talk about our over-under series. We went to the top 6. Owen Tippett, Tyson Forster, Sean Couturier, Trevor Zegras, Travis Konechny, and Matvei Michkov. Me, Eric, and Rick gave our opinions on this. But Mr. Baskow wasn't here for that. We got to get his as well. So before we start the bottom 6, let's start right off and continue the top 6 from last week and get Mr. Jamey Baskow's opinion. So I got the over-unders from last week written down. I am going to ask you over-under point production. Owen Tippett, let's start with him because that's who we started with last week. 47.5 points is the over-under for Owen Tippett.
Over. I think he finishes with 56, 30 goals, 26 assists.
Ooh. Now, what's your reasoning behind that?
I think he knows, like last year, he underperformed pretty well. He missed the net, obviously he misses the net a lot. But you know what? There's another player that used to miss the net a lot too, and they traded him, was Jeff Carter. He was always high and wide. He was good for one high and wide, and that's what Owen Tippett was. 30 goals, 26 assists.
30 goals, 26 assists, 56 points. Mark it down in the prediction book of Jamey Pascal. We'll come back to that at the end of the season to see how good we did. Up next, Mr. Tyson Forster. Last year, 25 goals, 18 assists, 43 points. Over-under set for him with his off-season training still, but a little bit of a question mark depending on how his elbow is, but we'll ask it anyway. We got him set also at 47.5. Mr. Jamey Pascal, over or under?
Under.
Under. Okay. What do we got?
Yeah, I think the goal total will be there. I think he'll finish with like 28, 29 goals. Unfortunately, I think he's going to get off to a bit of a slow start due to the nature of his injury. It's not going to be, fortunately, like you said, Bill Meltzer had some really good news to share about Tyson Forster. But sometimes this stuff lingers on. Although he's ready to play and he can play, doesn't mean that he's playing at 100%. And with the rigors of training camp, Rick Tockett's going to run these guys into the ground just like John Tortorella did. I think he's going to finish with under. And I know these guys are more than prepared because of Torts' camp for Rick Tockett's camp. That's one good thing about having a hard-nosed coach is that these guys are more than prepared. But my problem is, my worrisome is that he hasn't been able to train at full steam like he typically would. Usually Tyson Forster remains in Philadelphia. He did not this year. He usually remains in Philly with Cam York, and Jamie Drysdale joined them last year. It was like the three amigos. This is the first year he didn't, and I think it's because he wanted to take some time away, due to the nature of his infection, whatever was, causing that and stuff. So I think he's going to get off to a bit of a slow start through the month of November. I see it lasting until like maybe the beginning of December.
What do we have for an exact point total for him?
Exact point total, I'll go with, let me see. I think he'll finish with 29 goals. I think he'll finish with 29 and 15.
That would be 44 points. Gotcha. Okay. So under, I think that's a pretty valid number. He did have some playmaking issues last year. I think he only had 18 assists last year, so kind of close to the numbers he did produce. Up next, Mr. Sean Couturier. Last year, he had 15 goals, 30 assists, 45 points. Much better year last year than the year before. I shouldn't say much better, but better. I got his over-under at 45.5. Jamie, what do we got for
over? Over, and I think it's because I don't think Trevor Zegras is going to be the top line center to start. That line with Mitchkov and Konechny and Couturier really took off towards the tail end of the season. I can see them. Yeah, I think Zegras is going to get time, in training camp, like Tocchet said. Why wouldn't I pair those three together? But I think Coots is going to start with Mitchkov and Travis Konechny to start. I think that's going to be a line of fire. So I have him going over.
What do we got for the point total?
I have him at 51.
51. I like it.
Yeah,
I
got like 26. Maybe I got like 30 assists and 21 goals.
Okay, I think we all had Couturier over. Actually, funny enough, not significantly over, but just barely over. Trevor Zegras. So he's coming off of 2 injury-riddled seasons. I think he only had 32 points last year, but he only played 57 games. We have his over-under. We got a little bit higher than people might expect, 59.5. Jamie, over-under Trevor Zegras, 59.5 points.
I have him over. I have him at about 55 to 60 points.
So
I'll give an exact amount.
60?
Oh, 59 and a half. Oh, I thought you said 50 and a half. Sorry.
No.
59 and a half. Oh, I'd say right on. 59.
59. Okay. So
I have him under. That would be an under by a half.
What do we got for a point total breakdown?
26 goals and 33 assists.
I like that.
I think he's going to really. I think he's really going to contribute on the power play.
A lot of 20-plus goal scorers in Philly next year. I'm getting 2014 vibes when they had 7 of them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gone to the biggest 2 players yet. Okay. Travis Konechny has had an increase in points each of the last 5 years. Last year, another career high, 76 points. He had 24 goals, 52 assists. Did tail off quite a bit in his goal scoring. He said he wasn't hurt. We were a little back and forth whether he was or not last year. So let me ask you. I have the over-under for Travis Konechny, assuming he continues his trend of breaking his career point total for a season at 80.5. Jamey, over and under 80.5 points for Travis Konechny.
Over. I think he finishes with 82.
Right on the dot, point per game. Now, why is that?
Yep. Because I think he'll finish with 27 goals and 55 assists. Mitchkov. Hello.
Mitchkov.
It's the Mitchkov effect.
It's the Mitchkov effect. Absolutely. And when you play him with a nature of that talent, it uprises your game quite a bit. And speaking of Mr. Matvei Mitchkov, we're going to end it with him. Last week, we put the over-under on him at 74.5 points. Last year, 26 goals, 37 assists, 63 points in 80 games played. All 3 of us, including Rick, had him over. Jamey, floor is yours. Where do you have Matvei Mitchkov next year? 74.5 points, over or under?
Under.
Under. Oh, my. Okay. Explain.
I think he'll finish with 70 points. I think he'll finish with like 35 goals and 35 assists.
35. Interesting. You want to hear what I had him at, Jamey?
What?
92. I think he explodes this year. I think he really has a sophomore season to remember, personally. We'll see. But I think Matvei goes off.
I think he's going to play very well. He's a hell of a player. I like to go under these totals a little bit in terms of like a player like of Matvei Mitchkov's caliber, only because I hate to raise his pedestal even higher.
Gotcha. Understandable. All right. Now let's move on to the bottom 6. So Rick is going to join us for this part of the segment. He was with us last week when we did it as well, with me and Eric. So the bottom 6, that we are going to include the following players: Noah Cates, Bobby Brink, assuming he makes the roster, Alex Bump, Nick Delorier, although I'm not confident he even really plays this year. So this one's going to be a little bit iffy because Nikita Grabenkin could take a spot. Rodrigo Abels could take a spot. But we're just going to do D-Lo just for now for the sake of argument because we know we'll technically be on the roster. Garnet Hathaway and Christian Dvorak. So we're going to go in order. We are going to start with Noah Cates. Noah Cates last year had a pretty solid year. 78 games played at a career high in goals scored, 16 goals, 21 assists, 37 points. Solid year for Cates as a whole. Good two-way game, solid down the middle, good face-off guy. He can pretty much play either at center or the wing. I think there's a real chance he could move to either or position this year, especially if Jet Luchenko pushes for a playoff spot. We're going to hold guesses with him because we don't know for sure if he makes a roster yet. So, Noah Cates, over-under point total. We're going to set him at 39.5. Rick, let me start with you. Noah Cates, 39.5 over-under.
That's not fair starting with me. I'm going to say just over. And the reason being, I think he'll play more wing because you got a little more option now for center. Mm-hmm. And I think he's probably better suited at the wing. And you guys are a little bit better, I think, this year offensively. So I'm gonna go just over. So like at 41 points. Don't make me make a breakdown.
Fair enough. Mr. Bascal, the floor is yours. 39.5 points over under Noah Cates.
Over. I think he finishes with 44. I think he finishes with like 15 goals and 29 assists. I see him playing with Alex Bump and Bobby Brink.
Interesting. So I have that same line. I just have him. This is my first one of these at tad under. I have him at 38 points. I have him 18 goals, 20 assists. I think he does have a good year, but I just have him a tad under. It would technically be another career high. I also think, injuries are going to happen with this team. There is a possibility he could get a little dinged up at some point. It could happen for any. But realistically, I think his progression will probably kind of stagnate a little bit. He will continue to play a solid two-way game, but I got him at 38 points, 18 goals, 20 assists.
I think we lost Jamey.
He may have. All right. So if he gets back here, I'm assuming he will at some point. Looks like he's having some connection issues.
Yeah.
Bobby Brink. Rick, the floor is yours. Let's start over under Bobby Brink. Bobby Brink last year had a nice step in the right direction. I've actually heard a few analysts look at him as a dark horse for a potential breakout guy. Last year, career highs in both goals and assists, played 79 games, 12 goals, 29 assists, 41 points, minus 11. The 2 years combined before that, he only played a combined 67 games. We'll see. Hopefully, Jamey fixes his connection issues and we get him back here.
I can't figure out why I didn't jump into that window, though.
I don't know. It's probably because it's set at 3 right now, but give him a moment. Rick, Bobby Brink, over, under, we're going to set him at 40.5.
And what did he get last season?
41.
And he plays what? He's a winger, right?
Yes, he plays right wing.
What line you figure he's going to play? Because
third, most likely.
And you have him at
40.5.
40.5. Jeez, that's a good for me. That's a difficult one. I'm not sure, but I'm going to say just under.
Okay.
Like 39 points. Like 39 or 40 points. Like just missing that.
Gotcha.
I have no reasoning except that, I think there might be a little more offense everywhere, and there's only so many points to go around.
Valid.
If he's going to play on the third line, 39 points, 40 points is still good on the third line. So now I have a feeling I'm going to be wrong.
Bobby Brink, I have him over, but not a massive over, but an over. I have him set at 45 points this year. I think he offensively is probably going to be their best bottom 6 guy this year. He's got a good shot. He's small body, but plays bigger than his size indicates, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people point Bobby Brink as a dime a dozen player, and I partially agree to an extent because he's probably limited in what he can provide you offensively. Even though he's quick, he's also, as I just mentioned, despite playing bigger to his size, he is on the smaller size. So he can also get body around time to time. I'm going to put Bobby Brink, 18 goals, 27 assists, 45 points. I do think Brink might eventually be on the way out in the next year or two just because of the surplus of wingers that this team has, with Bump, Verbanken, Martone, Barkey all coming, and there's only so many roster spots. So this could be Brink just trying to solidify his role, whether it's here or somewhere else in the future. I'll put Bobby Brink at 45 points, 18 goals, 27 assists.
Let me just fix
Jamey, I just heard back from. He's taking care of something personally real quick. He will be back shortly, so he is going to rejoin us.
Okay, so I won't change anything then.
So we'll get back to Jamey once he gets here. Alex Bump. So this one's more of if he makes the roster. Alex Bump has been probably the Flyers' gem in the rough prospect. He was a 5th-round pick a couple of years back. Played for Western Michigan last year, was on their national title team.
Remember.
He has continued to show out. Reports continuously said in Flyers development camp that him and Martone seemed like they were like pretty much a step ahead of everyone else, including Jet Luchenko, even some arguments said. And that's not a knock on Luchenko. That's a praise for Alex Bump, how much of a shocking find this kid has been in the 5th round.
Plus, he's older, right? I mean, he's older than Luchenko, right?
Yeah, I believe he's 21, 22, something around that age group. Yeah, Luchenko's only 19, so it's understandable. But Alex Bump looks like he is primed to push for a roster spot. I think there's probably about an 80% chance that he makes this team. So I'm going to say him for the sake of argument and just hypothetically saying he does make the team. We're going to put an over-under. Actually, before I say Alex Bump, I think it's only fair that I read off his numbers at Western Michigan last year.
That would help.
42 games, 23 goals, 24 assists, 47 points. Year before, 14 goals, 22 assists, 36 points in 38 games. So he's got some offensive touch. So I'll put Alex Bump in his rookie year at 30.5 points. Rick, over under, what do we have?
Only where do you think he's going to play?
So he'll be likely, my prediction, the 3rd line left winger. He's a bigger body. He kind of plays a little more of an offensive style power forward. He's 6'2", 200 pounds already. So he's kind of going to be taking over the Tyson Forster role a little bit on that 3rd line. I think he's got better playmaking abilities, but he might not have quite as good of a shot as Tyson does. So I'd say he's more of a more balanced all-around type of guy.
All right, so rookie season, I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under. I can't really say how far under or anything, but I'm going to say under.
Okay. I'm going to do a little under as well, but I do think he makes a good name for himself. I'm going to put him at 29 points. I'll put him at 13 goals, 16 assists in his rookie year. The thing with Alex Bump, there are going to be those growing pains of being a rookie. His ice time, he's not going to see as much ice time as he obviously saw in college in Western Kentucky. Because
this is why I'm going under.
Veteran talent there. But he does play with 2 guys that have some legitimate chemistry with each other, and Noah Cates and Bobby Brink is my prediction. So I'm going to put him under, but just barely under. I think he finds his stride in the second half of the year after having some growing pains to start the year. There may even be a little bit of talk whether he stays on this team or not, but I think he eventually finds his game around Christmas time and ends up finding some real progression. 13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points for Alex Bump.
At the age he's at, right? I mean, even though he's a 5th round pick, but I mean, he's at that age, he should be ready for the NHL by now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know
He's
what I mean?
21 years old, so he left shot winger. I think he's going to fit very well with this team. He gives them a little bit of much needed size. He has a pretty underrated defensive game, good board battler, and he's got an engine. That's what I really like about his game is he's got an engine.
And you know what? If he makes the team and he's an NHLer, a 5th round pick, good job on whoever.
Absolutely. 5th round pick, 133rd overall. This was, like I said, a gem in the rough pick. So,
good job on picking, a guy like that who makes it. Brendan Gallagher was a 5th round pick.
They happen. Christian Dvorak.
Oh, there I can talk about that.
This is a guy Rick has some familiarity with.
Yes.
So Christian Dvorak comes over from Montreal. 82 games played last year, 12 goals, 21 assists, 33 points, -5. Was tied, not tied for a career high, was around where he is. Almost a career high in assists. He had 21 assists. His career high is 22. Very good face-off guy. Averaged about 15 minutes a night in Montreal last year. So I expect him to rotate the 3rd, 4th line, mainly be a PK guy. So Christian Dvorak, I'll put his over-under at, let's say, 28.5 points. Rick, floor is yours.
All right. Devo is probably going to be your 3rd line center. That's what I think. He's going to frustrate you at times. And then there's going to be games where he's awesome. One thing that he's awesome at the dot. So you're looking at a guy that's a 55 to 60% face-off guy. A guy that when you get into overtime, he can take that first face-off and get off the ice, and he's won you the draw, and it's really important, that kind of thing. Okay, now points. It's he's gonna. I think. What do you have it at 20? I think
28 and a half.
I think over if he is not injured, and this could be a problem. He can tend to be injured off and on in a season. So I'm gonna say over something like 31.
31.
Yeah.
All right.
But he'll be good. He's a solid third line center. He's a solid third line center, in my opinion.
I gotcha. So Christian Dvorak, I'm happy they added him only for the sheer fact that they needed another guy who can win faceoffs, as you mentioned, because Sean Couturier was really their only consistent faceoff guy last year. They haven't had that second good faceoff guy since Claude Giroux left. So it's going to be good for that. Him and Coots could really help Trevor Zegras in the dot, as I mentioned last week. Plays a good defensive style. Good PK guy. Obviously, he's limited offensively. He's only going to probably be here this year. And if he doesn't work out, he might get moved at the deadline. So contract is a completely different argument. I'm not even overly concerned about that besides the point.
But can I say something about the contract?
Yeah.
At that size contract, so the 5.4 for 1 year, to me, that's also screams that they think he will be your third line center.
Yeah.
I don't think they paid him that for a fourth line.
I think he's going to alternate personally because I don't know if they're going to want to break up that Cates and Brink line unless if they want to move Cates over to the wing. But the only issue of doing that is if you do that, you have to end up moving Alex Bump somewhere. And I don't think you're going to put him on the fourth line right off the bat either. So that's why just based off the chain reaction, I think Devo might start on the fourth line center and can move up to the third if things end up bouncing around a little.
As far as Bump, I mean, Nick Suzuki started as a fourth line winger. So I don't think it means anything in the first year. You know what I mean? I don't think so.
The only reason I'm not someone about bringing up prospects if you're going to be playing them at least on the fourth line. I at the bare minimum, unless if you know what their ceiling is, if you have a higher ceiling for a guy like an Alex Bump who could potentially be a top six guy in the future, I feel like it's more suited for him to at least start on the third line. And maybe if he struggles a little bit, you can move him down to the fourth. And again, these lines that I'm just starting with, they're obviously going to move. I think there'll be a point where some of the guys that I mentioned could drop down to the fourth and Devo can move to the third. And if injury happens, maybe even for a short time in the second. Obviously not long term, but at least until injuries heal up. But me personally, I think Devo will start on the fourth line and maybe progress up to the third as the season goes on. If some cold streaks or some a losing streak pops up or some guys need to be jumbled around for, scoring droughts and whatnot. I'm going to have Devo Dvorak start on the fourth line. I will have him just over. I'm going to put him at 30 on the dot, 14 goals, 16 assists.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's not a guy. He's going to get you between 30 and 40 points. That's depending on the ice time, depending on how many games he plays. That's what he and he's played long enough that you can look at it and go, yeah, this guy's going to be pretty consistent in that range. But, I think that face-off, his prowess at the dot is what's going to keep him as your third-line center because, you need to win. You need to win draws, and you want to start off with the puck, and this guy's going to give you that better chance. I think he's going to stay there. That's my personal opinion. But remember, everybody watching, I don't know for sure. I don't know as intimately with the Flyers what their plans might be. One thing you could say, things shake out. You never really know. And doesn't matter how it starts at the beginning of the season, your team never looks the same at the end of the season.
Valid. Very valid.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Garnet Hathaway. Garnet Hathaway, I love this guy only for the sheer fact that he plays with the logo on his chest every night, always plays hard. He's obviously limited offensively. He's not, what he is. He's a fourth line right winger. Going into his age 34 season.
He's 34?
Yeah, he's going to be 34 at some point this season. Most of the year, he will be
He's
34.
33 now.
So he played 67 games last year. He did miss time with that concussion he suffered. I think it was against the Penguins, if I remember correctly. So he missed 15 games last year. 67 games played, 10 goals, 11 assists, 21 points. Not a bad season for Hathaway for his standards. He comes into the year pretty much solidified in that fourth line right winger spot. Hathaway, I'm going to put him at 23.5 points. Rick, floor is yours.
When you say he's solidified there, I don't know. You've got some changes happening. I don't know how solidified he may not play every
Barring
game.
injury, I think he is personally.
Well, okay, like I said, though, I don't know your team as intimately. So, yes, I could be very wrong. This is just how I'm seeing it right now. So I kind of think he's probably going to come in a little bit under that, like just a point or two under. I think probably match what he got last year, and I wouldn't shock me if he comes in a couple of points under that at his age. And he plays a rough game, like he plays a tough, hard-hitting game, if I'm correct. So I think I'm going to say that under.
Under, what do we have for an exact point total?
Oh God, don't ask me that. If it were the Habs, okay, I could get, but I don't know that I could do that with these guys, especially your bottom six.
I know it's a little more challenging with that.
Yeah, so give me a break on that one. I get it. I get a pass on that.
Not even going to give a number.
I said no. I just gave you a number. I think some, like 20, like what he had last year, maybe a couple points less.
All right. I'm going to also say under. I think age is eventually going to catch up to him. I like Hathaway. He plays hard. I'm going to put Hathaway at exactly 29 goals, 11 assists.
29 goals?
No, 9 goals.
Yeah, okay. You said 29, though.
No, 20 points, I meant to say.
Are you crazy?
No, 20 points, 9 goals, 11 assists.
Yeah, no, I get it. I heard
I'm
29
not that
goals.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oy vey. All right, and we got our friend Mr. Jamey Bascal back. Jamey.
What a day. What a day, man. What a day
What
here
a day, what a day.
What a day here at Rental Land. Holy smokes. Oh.
It's all good, man. It's all good. I completely understand. So when you left, we did do 4 more players, so I'll let you read your 4 off of the players that we did continue with.
Yeah.
Bobby Brink was the first guy that we missed here. I had his over-under set at, was it 39.5, I believe I said? I believe it was 39.5.
Better write things down on paper.
Yeah, I'm going with the flow. I had it, and then I freaking missed.
Over 39.5.
39.
Over 39. Yep, I think he finishes with 45, 20 and 25.
I think that's what
that's over. I had 45 as well.
Yeah.
I think it was 18 and 27, though. Actually, it was 41.5. I just remember now. I had his over-under set at 41.5.
That's
yeah,
great.
That makes
You're
sense.
the man.
It was 41.5.
You're the man, the myth, the legend, baby. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Oh, yeah. Big bucks.
Big.
All right. Then we moved on to Mr. Alex Bump. I had his numbers set, due to it really being his rookie year, I had his numbers set at, I believe it was 29.5, if I remember correctly. 29 or 28.5. Well, we'll say 28.5. I think it was 28.5.
But that was 30.
Under, I think 25.
25. What do we have?
10 and 15.
I think it was 30.5 you had.
It was 30.5. You're right. I need to write these damn things down.
Yes.
Yes. So it was 30.5. That's right, because I had him at 28.
Oh, 30.5? Well,
Yeah.
still under, in my opinion. I haven't finished him with 25, 11 and 14.
Gotcha. I had him at, I believe it was, I had him at 13 and 16. I had him at 29.
Yeah.
Okay. Christian Dvorak. We had him at 28.5.
Wasn't there somebody
Under.
in between that?
Under.
What do we got?
Under. I think he finishes with 28, 14 and 14.
14 and 14. And then Garnett Hathaway, we just did that one.
Yeah.
We had him at 23.5.
Over.
What do we got for Hathaway?
30. 30 points. I think he finishes with like 14 and 16. I think that fourth line is going to be rocking. I'm going to be honest. I really like that fourth line. I think that's going to be one of their better lines, one of the more consistent lines. I like Christian Dvorak. I think he's an underrated signing. He was my favorite signing for the entire offseason. I think they needed a player like Dvorak. He knows Rick Tocchet's system. I don't think he's getting enough clout because of that. He knows what to expect of Rick. He knows what to expect of Rick Tocchet. I think they're going to really look up to him at training camp because to develop what systems his likes, what are his dislikes, what aggravates him and stuff. I really think it's going to be an integral piece at training camp.
Can I ask a question, you guys? Didn't Devo sign before they announced Tocchet as head coach?
No.
Rick Tocchet was signed as a head coach back in like May.
Okay. So I never put it together. I forgot.
Don't quote me, but I think the date was May 12th when Rick Tocchet was hired.
In Arizona.
Okay, I thought it was, but I forgot that Devo played for him. Makes a lot of sense that he signed in Philadelphia.
That was my favorite signing of the offseason just because of his connections with Rick Tocchet. You remember who was it that was brought in to develop towards his likes and dislikes? They claimed they had a player off of waivers from the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he went overseas. I forget his name. Nonetheless, there was another player that they signed that knew what Torts' likes and dislikes were, and really became an integral piece. That training camp.
Yeah.
Now, Devo
Kevin Hayes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Devo will be good for you in the role whatever role you're going to give him, but he'll be good for you.
Yeah, like I said, I think he starts on the fourth line, could potentially move to the third, but he's a face-off specialist, good PK guy, and could move on to the third line if need be. So I think he's got the ability to play almost anywhere. He's kind of like their new Scott Lawton, I feel like.
Yeah, right.
Listen, he could fill in at second line center for short periods of time if you need him to. And I really believe, because Jamey missed this, I think he'll be your third line center.
Like I said, I'd be a little surprised if they did that just because I don't think they want to break up Cates and Brink. But we'll see. You might be right. Last but not least, the last player we've yet to name is Nick Delorier. This is more of just a fill-in player because I don't know who's going to get that last spot. Could be Grabenkin, could be Rodrigo Abels, could be another player. Jet Luchenko could make this roster, and the players I named could be situated in different positions. Maybe Noah Cates drops to the fourth line, and Jet Luchenko plays with Bobby Brink and Alex Bump. Who knows? But I'm only saying Nick Delorier just because he'll be on the roster unless if he gets waived.
Should it be games over under? You should do games.
4.5 points. Sure. Let's go with that.
What did he have?
I think he finishes over. Like 3 goals, 3 assists.
6 points. This is more of a fill-in player. Rick, go ahead.
Over under games. I say he plays in 32 games.
Wow.
There you go.
That one's actually surprising.
When I did this over under stuff in my pod. Jack, I had him at I don't think I had points. It was fights, ejections, and I forget what he
would be a better over under for him. For sure.
I think that he's going to share time with Rodrigo Abels. I see Rodrigo Abels being like the 13th forward. Because I don't think they'll waive him and then send him down. I actually think he'll make the squad. But I actually think D'Lo is not going to be waived like I first thought. They're under the cap right now. I thought they were going to be a little bit over, and I thought that they would waive D'Lo, and that would give them like $1.5 million that they needed to get under the cap. That's because they don't want to LTIR Ellis. We already knew that, right?
Yeah, they don't want to take any real unnecessary cap hits if they have to.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's a good assessment. I like that.
Yeah. How about you, Rick? What do you have at 4.5 points?
I'm going to say under. He's probably going to get like 3 or 4 points. And probably play like
2. I think he gets 2 points and plays like 25 games.
Yeah, it's going to play 20 odd games probably is what I would figure. Now, but if you did fights
over
Fights, I say around 10.
And
Yeah. Anyways, I thought it was funny.
I'm saying 7. Over on the
7?
fights, he gets in 7 fights this year.
Okay, but now for Jack Guy last season, how many fights do you think he had with the reputation Jack Guy had last season?
How many did? Wait, say that again.
How many fights do you think a guy like Arbor Jack Guy had last season? And he played 70
Like
games.
5.
You're close. It was only 6, and it surprised me that it was only 6.
He didn't play in every game though, did he?
70 games he got into.
Oh wow.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So 70 games, I thought for sure it's more. So yeah, they have that reputation, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna get into 10 fights. But anyways.
All right. With that being said, let us move on to our next topic. We have done our over-under talk. Now it is time to move into the rebuild as a whole. So we are now going on realistically year 3, I'd say, of Danny having full control of this roster. So because he took over late 22, 23, I don't really count that. So this is Danny's 3rd full year with the team.
Right. So you're going into year 3, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Jamey, I will put the microphone in your hand on this question. How do you feel about Danny Brier's rebuild thus far? And is there anything you personally change differently?
No, actually, I think, well, I there have been some things that, one trade or two that I think I would have done. But aside from that, I think that they're as expected. In this regime, it screams patience, but they're not afraid to take some calculated risks either. In terms of making trades, the necessary trades to pick up assets, necessary trades to try to improve this team, try to improve this squad. My one downside to this regime, what I would have done, really, I wouldn't have. I would have re-signed. I would have signed Alex Lyon, or maybe upgraded the goaltending position, not relied solely on Dan Vladar. Not saying I hope he really performs better than what I expect him to. I'm not saying he's going to be bad by any means, but they need him to be good. And I just don't know if he can do that. Samuel Orson has, I hope Samuel Orson has a rebound. I think that in terms of trying to stay healthy was his Achilles heel last season. It's really been his Achilles heel, throughout the course of his career, I'd say. Not like stretches, not for like long-term per se, but like nagging injury. You know what I mean? So I would have upgraded the goaltending position in such a way. I think that, maybe I don't know, maybe made a trade for a goaltender or something of that nature to seal up that position, but they didn't. They're putting their eggs in the basket on Dan Vladar. I just don't know if that's enough to get them over the pinnacle of what they're trying to do, trying to at least make the playoffs this season. I haven't finished on the playoff bubble because I'm not completely sold on the Flyers goaltending yet again. But in terms of the defensive position, I think they're doing solid there. I think they're going according to plan. I like the re-signing. I was one of those that liked re-signing Cam York as opposed to dealing him. I don't think that it's good to give up on a 24, 25-year-old, at that stage in his career. Let him rebound. Let him get a new coach in there. Let him try to be the power play quarterback that he used to be with the University of Michigan. It's in there. It's just got to untap it. You know what I mean? I don't think he really got consistent touches as a power play quarterback. They use him in stretches and then would let him go again. I think that they need consistency in 10 to 12 games to figure out if he could QB this power play or not. So that shows a little bit of form of consistency. Now, in terms of the forward position, I think it's going according to plan. I really like the Christian Dvorak signing. I think that's more underrated signing of the Flyers all season. They're not afraid to show. What I like about this regime, they're not afraid to give the young guys a shot. You're looking at Alex Bump, that's going to make this squad more than likely, barring injury. They say, hey, any defensive player, I'd like Emil Andre coming in and getting some playing time. They're giving all the young guys shots, and that's what I like. So yeah, this rebuild's going according to plan, in my opinion. I don't want them to make a deal or make a trade or just sign someone to sign someone. Again, I would have sealed up the goaltending position. That was my only criticism of the Flyers all season. I don't think they did enough in that area.
Can I?
So
here?
Interesting you bring up goaltending because I'm going to piggyback off of you a little bit when it comes to this.
I'll go after.
I do agree with you that I don't think they've done enough overall with the goaltending, but I go as far back as last year. Personally, I don't mind the Vladar signing. I was kind of skeptical at first, but Eric is someone who is very adamantly positive on it. As he started pulling up some statistics about it and kind of talking me into it a little bit.
He's going to be good.
I got a little more confidence in Vladar. I'm a little more sold on the Vladar signing than I originally was at the time. I do not think he was their first option. I agree with you there for sure. I think Jake Allen was on their radar. I wonder if Alex Lyon was someone they may have potentially had some, interest in, maybe trying to trade for one of the goalies on the market like Gibson or Demko. But I do think Vladar was maybe like playing C or D on this. Who knows? But I don't mind that. My issue more in terms of goaltending, I don't think they did enough last year, in last year's offseason, when this team made a step forward. Mind you, we can all agree they definitely overachieved and it was shown. But I do think they were a little too adamantly quiet in last offseason outside of signing, bringing Mitchkov here and letting go Cam Atkinson. They really didn't do much to try to bolster the roster. I wanted them in the 23-24 offseason in Danny's second year here to do a little more to try and improve the current roster with a younger player. And they did that this offseason, bringing in Trevor Zegras, which is great. And I have a feeling, Danny even mentioned it during the presser, this is something they've been trying to do for years. And I think Zegras may have been on their radar last year probably. But when you look at the big picture, it was a little too quiet of a year. And I think it showed, especially with how porous their goaltending is. For example, signing Fedotov to that type of contract, 2 years, $3.25 million after playing 3 games and not doing much in any of them, was a little blasphemous at the time. I get it. It may have been part of bringing Michkov over. So, and we can argue that, and I get that. But the amount of money he got, I thought was ridiculous. And another thing in the goaltending perspective that I really didn't like is how much they have pretty much bent over backwards for Alexei Kolosov, an unproven goalie who they busted their ass trying to get here, busted their ass trying to get this kid on the roster. And, he hasn't really done anything here. I don't know how confirmed this is, but it seems like he didn't want to go back to the AHL. He wanted to stay as an AHL goalie when he really didn't prove it. So I feel like the whole Alexei Kolosov saga as a whole was handled very poorly, and I don't think we're going to see him this year, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But that's, in my terms of goaltending, what could have been done better is I think they could have did more last offseason, and I feel like the way they handled the goalies on the roster, they didn't do quite enough. In terms of drafting guys, we go back again to last year's draft. I love what they did this year's draft as a whole. We can argue the Nesbitt pick a little bit if that was a bit of a reach. But besides the point, I think this year's draft was fantastic. But last year's draft, as much as I like Jet Luchenko, I do think there was some better talent on the board that they could have got with that first-round pick. Z Boyum was on the board before they traded out of the spot. Minnesota grabbed him. Kostas Helenius was on the board. I know Cole Eiserman has kind of dropped a little bit in the favor of some people in New York, but you could argue he was on the board still. I do think there was better talent to get over Luchenko. Mind you, it doesn't mean I don't like the Luchenko pick because I do think he has worked out pretty well here, but I do think you could have hit that pick a little bit better personally. Time will tell there. But I want to give Danny some props on a couple of things. I think he has been a fantastic asset trader. I think, and one of the things I want to point to is the Cutter Gauthier situation. That situation could have been much worse. I know that people can argue he didn't get the best return ever for Cutter, but with the little to minimal leverage he had and how much this was known league-wide without anyone saying anything, he got a former number 6 overall pick and a second-round pick. Which was pretty good. And you could even argue maybe that was part of the negotiating, bringing Trevor Zegras over here. Is like, hey, listen, we gave you Cutter for this. Can you give us Zegras for this? It's more speculation than anything. I'm just spitballing here. But theory-wise, it could have been a thing. I want to, he, for the most part, I think of his contracts this year are fantastic. I think the value for Tyson Forster was excellent. I think the value for Cam York was excellent. Noah Cates was excellent. All three of those contracts were great. He loaded up on 7 picks in the first 2 rounds. He only ended up using, technically he used 6, but I think all of his second round picks, maybe you could argue the Amico pick a little bit, but I thought the Jack Murtaugh pick was excellent value. The Van Saki pick was excellent value. The guard pick was good. Obviously, Porter Martone, a lot of people had him as a number 3 overall prospect, falling down to 6 in terms of sheer talent, even if he was a winger. He's been argued as maybe the 3rd Kachuk brother. We'll see what happens when he eventually gets here. So I think in terms of drafting as a whole, outside of that Luchenko pick, I think Danny has done great. Do I think the Flyers have had a perfect run with Danny here? No, but I like the path they're going down. I think you can argue the Flyers have a top 10 prospect pool now for sure. I think it's right on the bottom of the top 10, give or take. There's a lot of talent here. Martone, Van Sagi, Nesbitt, Luchenko, Murtaugh, Amico, Barkey, Bonk, your 2 super goalies, 1 out, Russia and Zavargin, Bjarnson. They got a lot of talent here. They do.
Yeah, they do.
And even if you look at the big picture, you even now looking at Berglund looking like a potential steal. Obviously, we've been hyping up Alex Bump all this time, who was a 5th round pick in the rough. So I think Danny as a whole, outside of a pick or 2, has done pretty damn good through the draft.
Yeah.
I think his development has been solid. I think I give the Flyers rebuild right now a B+. Not a home run, but it's been good. There's been more positives than negatives. He's handling the cap assets well, and I think they put themselves in good position to make a big splash or 2 next offseason, especially if they take that progressive step forward that we have asked for. So do I think Danny's rebuild has been perfect? No, not by any sake of the matter. Do I think there's been some mistakes he's made? Yeah, for sure. But I do think there's been more positive than negative. He's a hell of a lot better than his predecessor, that's for sure. That's not really setting yourself to a high bar, but he's been a lot better than Chuck Fletcher was for sure. He's been thus far looking like a lot better than Ron Hextall. Mind you, we hyped up the Ron Hextall prospect pool quite a lot in the 2010s.
Yeah, I'm part of the guilty party with that.
I was too. We all were. Don't point yourself on that alone, Jamey. We all were part of the Ron Hextall friggin', scam.
I hate that guy.
But now looking at the big picture, I think Danny has done a good job pretty much gathering assets, drafting well. The next stage is developing and finding guys in that time frame who will age gracefully with this team. You added a Trevor Zegers. You've done well adding some picks and prospects. You got 2 more first-round picks in 2027. So this team is set. They're in good shape right now. Is it, as I said just recently, is it perfect? No. But as a whole, I think Danny has done a good job with step 1 and acclimating into step 2. Now it's time to see what Danny can do in year 3 of this rebuild in taking a step forward and making this team better naturally. Not overachieving like they did in 2023-24 with the John Tortorella coaching bump. And seeing how this team talent-wise progresses naturally. Mitchkov should take a step forward. Konechny continues to show he looks like an all-star first-line winger. Hopefully Owen Tippett can bounce back. Hopefully you can see Trevor Zegers of his first 2 years. Now he's got a fresh start. He's went 2 of his best friends in Cam York and Jamey Drysdale. Speaking of Jamey Drysdale, he looked a lot better in the second half of the year. As Jamey, you called out of everyone. Yep. You said this guy, wait till January when he takes that step forward. You hit that hammer on the nail.
Yeah.
Great take from you there. And I want to see how he continues to progress now, because Jamey Drysdale, he could arguably be the most important defenseman in this team's future, at least currently on the roster right now. Especially,
I think he finishes. I think Jamey finishes with 55 points this year to 60. That's how high I am on Jamey Drysdale. I think he's really going to take a step forward. This guy, for once, is healthy. He's never had a healthy – you go back to all the off-season trainings. He's never had an all-season to where he was particularly healthy except for his draft year. Look at it. Go back and do the research. For once, he's healthy and has had a full off-season of training. I'm telling you, people are asleep. There's a lot of people that are down on Jamey. There's a lot of naysayers about Jamey Drysdale, but this kid is a real deal. I'm serious about that.
Well, I think you already gave our pick away for next week's over-under when we do the defenseman, but slam it down now. We'll say it again next week. Put it on the presses. Jamey had it first.
Yeah.
Jamey Drysdale.
I think he's going to quarterback PP2. I think Cam York will quarterback PP1 for a while there. But I think Rick Tockett's going to love Jamey Drysdale. Because Rick Tocchet reminds me of sort of like John Tortorella, especially with that quote that came out. He's about to ruffle feathers and stuff of that nature. Sounds just like Tortorella-esque, in my opinion. With that being said, I think they're similar style coaches. I'm serious. Jamey, he's going to be very, very happy with Jamey Drysdale.
You heard it here first. Jamey Baskow loves Jamey Drysdale. 55 points. Well, we'll have that stamped when we do over-unders next week for defensemen, or next episode, I should say. But yeah. Overall, Jamey, let me ask you this. What would you give Danny Brier's rebuild right now as a letter grade?
B+.
Exact same grade.
If that's like A, B, C, D, F, a B.
Mm-hmm. Valid.
And it's because I really thought – now, I agree with you about the drafting aspects. I agree with you about the rebuild and trading for assets. Been a big proponent of that. Danny Brier's been knocked down a bit by some Flyers fans for not, doing much. But he waits. He doesn't want to give his hand. He doesn't want to show his hand and say, hey, these are the players. Yes, they're available, but you're also going to have to pay. I like that aspect. I like him being hard-nosed. I wish Chuck Fletcher was a little more hard-nosed, than Danny Brier. So he's done really well in that area. My thing is that the goaltending position, I don't think he did enough. That's just my personal opinion. I really hope I'm wrong. If that were the case, I would have given him an A, because I really think all the moves. I love adding Zegras. I love being the three amigos. He's not afraid. Hey, okay, we're short on centers. Okay, no problem. The center market, I'm looking to obtain like a player of Elias Peterson or something of that nature. Not saying he's a center, but I'm just saying someone of that caliber is like, oh, damn, it's going to take a lot. We're going to have to mortgage the future. Why not take a calculated risk on Trevor Zegras and see what he can do? Maybe he could be a top pairing center. I like those risks. So with that being said, I give him a B. If it's A, B, C, D, F, B. If it's a B, I'd rather give him a B+, to be honest with you.
Give him a B+ then. B+ is exactly where I have him at. Like I said, One other thing before we move on to our last topic, or I should technically say our next mini topic. One thing I do want to point out, maybe one other small critique I could give him. One of the things that we have been adamant about when it comes to Danny for quite some time is finding that 1C. And I don't think they still have that yet. Now, mind you, could someone surprise us and develop into that? Maybe Zegras shocks everyone. Maybe Jet Luchenko shocks some people. Who knows? But I don't believe they have that 1C yet. Now, is Danny going to potentially make that his priority, next free agency or off season? Or is this going to be more of a go after it in the draft type thing? I don't know. But that's maybe one other kink I have on Danny's, not kink, maybe not the right word to use because that sounds wrong.
I know what you mean.
One other, criticism I have on Danny's rebuild is maybe he could have did more to try to address the 1C or even 1D position, because I don't even know if they have the 1D yet in the prospect yet, but they have so many guys who are number 2s and 3s ceiling that I don't feel quite as off with that. I think York could be at 2D. I think Sanheim's a 2 to 3D. I think Jamey Drysdale has the potential of being a number 3 defenseman. I think, Oliver Bonk could be a second pairing guy. So I do think they have at least some talent there. But I with center, I'm a little more critical as could you have found that 1C by now? or that guy
Yeah.
who could project out to be the 1C, I should say.
Yeah.
But that's maybe my last criticism. But they're so loaded at the wing, it kind of makes up for it a little bit.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, on the goaltending, I think Jamey, I think you're wrong on it. I think Vladar is going to be a really good addition for you. He is, at very least, he is league average, and I think he's a little bit above that, and his numbers actually speak for that. So as far as for a backup and maybe a 1B, I think Vladar is going to be actually really good for you guys.
Good.
As far as Briere, I think Briere's on the right track. I don't think he's doing as well as our GM, but he's on that same track of patience, and he's building the team the right way. And I think I think he's done a good job, Briere. I would give him a B, by the way.
Rick had to add that. Yeah, he's
No,
doing
I think it's
good.
true.
He's not Kent Hughes, but he's doing good.
No, my name's not Nordy. It's really how I feel, but I'm telling you, I think he's on the right track. He's on that same kind of path. And
He's the greatest general manager in history. Don't give me that.
It's his own path. He's not going to be exactly like us. And there's your own development stage. So there's a lot of time for him to fill out that roster properly. So, no, I think you guys are on a good path, and he's done a good job.
Listen, he's doing better than the other guy, that team that gets looked at in this
Without a doubt.
Don Sweeney in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, you want a Don Sweeney?
No.
So you don't have one. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
All right. With that being said, we're going to do a little fun moment back in time with the podcast. So as I've said, this is our 50th episode. We're going to have a little trip down memory lane before we make our big announcement. We've had a lot of fun moments in this. We've done, we've had some guests here. We've had some cool episodes. We've had some mocks. We've had just some awesome things with the podcast. I want to ask you, Jamey, if you had to pick one moment in our 50 episodes of doing this that stands out to you, what is like the one or two moments that you look back on the pod over these 50 episodes, you're like, oh man, this was an awesome, cool, hilarious moment.
Well, I got to tell you, my hilarious moments are like you, Eric Martino. I love how you're positive every week. And yes, that's not like a moment, but like you're really positive. But when they suck, you're like, hey, man, they suck. Absolute horrible. Oh, man, absolutely horrendous. I like that aspect because it shows truthfulness. And you've done that on a few occasions, on a few episodes. You're like, outright garbage, just straight trash. Can't get any worse than that. My other favorite is Eric. Eric, I love his jerseys, his hats that he wears, and his notorious, in the background, like how he has, his setup, week in and week out, and your car collection is phenomenal and stuff like that.
If anyone hasn't seen it yet, beauty, absolute beauty right there.
Like Eric's always wearing these nice hats, man. He's like the hat man. He's got these old style, like Flyers hats, these old style, just hockey hats and stuff. It really shows like, poise. But, there's been a few shows, I think, to where we've gone off, like with Noah, we had a massive show. You remember that show? A few shows, actually. We had Noah on there. You had Isaiah.
The Flyer Roundtable. That was episode 12. I know exactly.
Dude, that was one of my favorites. It was just like it just flowed so well. No one interfered with anybody. Everyone got their say, whether you agreed with it or not. That's what it's about. Because we're not always going to agree on a podcast. Like my point totals. You have, Mitch Koff, higher, 90 or plus. You know what I mean? Now mine's a little more, sturdy. It's like 70. Okay, let's give the number 70. We don't agree, but it's okay because we don't have to. And that's what hockey's about. That's what sports is about. It's about disagreeing, but agreeing, and it's about respect. And that showed a lot of respect. We had a lot of fun. We were laughing. We were jovial. I think, in terms of the draft show this past year, that was another phenomenal one.
I love that.
Oh, man, I absolutely love the draft talk and the mock drafts and stuff. And stuff that happens, stuff it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what Eric was saying. He got a few right on some of the players that he was calling for. They actually were drafted higher than than some pundits had them. So same thing with you. Same thing with you. You had some players that were drafted higher than what some pundits. Hey, be on the lookout for that. That's the stuff I like.
Yeah. Honestly, good call.
Can I go? I got a couple, and then we'll
Let's
take
hear it, Rick.
Okay, I think my all-time favorite was when Jamey swore. I think that's my all-time favorite moment.
Yeah,
that was like Haley's comet going by. It's so rare.
Exactly. And then every time we talk about a player, I'll take him. I love that.
Take
anybody. And then Alex's rants. As Jamie would say, Alex's rants are great. So that's been my favorite moment.
Listen, we have had some awesome times here. We've had some awesome guests. Dan Silver not too long ago. We've had our buddy Isaiah also from the O&B Puck. We love having him on. We had Bill Meltzer on for an episode. He was a treat. Loved having him.
That was cool.
And we got another big guest we're going to be announcing very shortly. Not giving that away yet, but I've loved having the guests just coming on. Noah, as you mentioned, even we've had some cool moments. Even a shout out to Dylan when we had him at the very beginning of the episode. We had to let him go for personal reasons, but we loved having Dylan here too. So we can't give a knockout to him as well. So all the times that we had people here was great. Like, for funny moments for me, I remember we go back to episode 5 when they first signed Travis Konechny. I went on a massive rant about that contract, and I lost my fucking mind for about 15 minutes just bitching about it. And looking back, like, maybe I went a little overboard.
That's the fun part, though. It's the entertaining part of what we do.
But yeah, Rick, you mentioned the rants. That rant I went on, I think maybe has been my best rant on Flyera. As you mentioned, the Flyers roundtable back on the 12th episode, that one was really fun, just having all those different guests and opinions. I think we had like 5 or 6 different people on in that episode, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That's still part of our intro today. We had Noah, we had our 3 hosts, we had Isaiah. We just had a good time with the roundtable. You know what? Now that we're talking about it so much, I think we're going to do another one of those this season. We'll talk about that a little bit off screen, but we're definitely going to see if we can revive the roundtable a little bit. That was some good fun. I love the mock drafts because that brought in a lot of different eyes too for viewership that aren't regulars. I feel like our mock draft episodes have been our most viewed episodes.
Yeah.
And those are awesome. Just hearing people's opinions and as to why they're picking different guys, seeing who the new blood coming into the organization is. Those were all blasts. And I even love the live streams we did too. I think if I had to pick one too, our Flyera live stream of the Flyers Ducks game earlier this year, that one was just me and Eric and Jamey. I wish you were there for that. We had a blast watching the Flyers beat the crap out of the Ducks that game. So that was another fun one for sure, just bringing that up. So there's definitely been some very fun episodes too. Trying to think of another one from this year too. Just ranting. Even our when they traded Frost and Farabee, just going back, remember the memories of players like that. Like just even if smaller guys, that was a pretty cool episode to do. A fond farewell. I think that was somewhere in the 30s. I enjoyed that one because it was a big news moment that we got to break down a little bit. But overall, I just love working with you guys. Jamey, you're a wealth of knowledge. You're awesome. I love hearing from you all the time and all the takes that you have. You're one of the coolest, nicest people I know on the planet. Like you've given so much.
Really appreciate that, man.
Podcasts, just off the rink, like you.
I second that, by the way.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
But those of you who don't know, my mother is battling breast cancer, and Jamey on multiple different occasions has, gone out of his way just to check in on me and see how things are. So, Jamey, I can't tell you with words how much I appreciate that. Truly, you're an awesome dude, both on and off the show. I love you, man, and I look forward to doing this for next year and hopefully years on end. Give him a follow on Twitter, folks, at Jamey Bascal, one of the coolest people I know.
Well, we love you too. We love you too, and I'm really happy to you. Eric, Rick, Matt, Nordy, Cam, everyone at DPM has been phenomenal, and we love you guys, and we're definitely going to do this for the rest of our lives. This is such a great show. It's only going to get better, especially with the guest, that he has. And we're always here for your mom. She's always in my thoughts and prayers. At church, we pray, and stuff, every week for your mom.
Thank you. I appreciate that more than I can describe. I do appreciate that a little bit, a lot of it actually. But yeah, there's that.
I got to throw this in, and a lot of thanks for sending us to the.
Absolutely, the Four Nations, man. That was a blast.
Yeah. Oh man, absolutely.
That was great.
That was great. I hope to potentially do something like that again in the future. But
damn
that
right,
was an incredible moment.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want, and shout out to Eric. He's not here this week. Last year when we had to look for our third host, and Eric was the first guy I kind of brought on for an episode, and right off the bat, I found instant chemistry with him.
Yeah.
Having him on for an episode, he's been a wealth of knowledge. He's been great here. He's done so much to help with the show over the last few months.
And the channel too, fantastic.
Channel for sure. He writes a lot of blogs. He's joined the Pucking Around podcast group. He's on vacation right now, a well-deserved one at that with his family. I hope he's having the time of his life out in Italy. I look forward to when he's back and we can talk about the training camp a little bit. So shout out to you as well. You've been awesome since you've been here too. But yeah, it's been great. I love interacting with you guys each time we do these, and I look forward to having another great year here at Flyera as we move on to the 50s, 60s, 70s episodes and so on and so forth.
Yes,
we are just scratching the surface, boys. This is going to be really fun for the next few years.
And listen, as a Habs fan that I am, I really enjoy directing this podcast. I love you guys, and I enjoy it a lot.
And a shout out to you too, Rick. I know you're dealing with some personal stuff behind the scenes right now. I don't know if you want to give the news or if you'd rather keep it private, but
Rick, I don't know if anybody here knows. My sister was in a coma, and we thought maybe it would be really bad, but she's recovering and things are going right now.
That's
fantastic.
Incredible news. I'm so happy that your sister's doing
guys.
good, Rick. So I just want to give that a little bit of a shout out. God
love
bless
you, buddy.
you and your family,
Appreciate
Rick.
it.
So, and don't think we don't know all the hard stuff you do. Listen, everyone, Rick, you see that title right below me? Rick's the one that does all that. He does all the directing. He might be a Habs fan, but he does an excellent job directing the show. So we wouldn't be here without Rick as well. So, Rick, thank you for all the work you do, both on and off the screen.
My pleasure to do it.
Everyone sees it. Everyone sees it, my man.
I wouldn't have thought I would enjoy like another team's, but I enjoy this a lot.
All right. So it's time for the big announcement. With that being said, let us move on to our big announcement. So a few weeks ago, I sent a message out to a certain someone who just to see if he would be interested to hopping on the pod. I told him, I do a little charity donation as a thank you if you did come on. And this individual has graciously accepted and has said, we're going to be doing something sometime in September. The date is still not solidified with this person, but he will definitely be coming on in the month of September. As we find out more, we will be getting this information thrown out, whether it'll be on Twitter, on the show, DPWM, whatever. The individual that will be joining Flyer in September for a guest appearance is none other than your voice of the Philadelphia Flyers, Jim Jackson. JJ will be joining the Flyer a podcast group in the month of September for an episode as we're going through training camp. He has graciously agreed. We're going to be getting Jim Jackson on here. We're going to have an awesome episode with JJ. He is looking forward to it. Me, Eric, and Jamey and Rick are looking forward to having to it. So tune in for more news updates with that. But Jim Jackson will be on Flyera Gonna Flyera in September. So look forward to that episode. We're getting the play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Flyers on the show. We look forward to having you here, JJ. And honestly, gentlemen, I look forward to all talking to JJ about some Flyers hockey as a collective group. This is going to be awesome.
That should be a good episode.
Jamey, you got anything to say to add on?
I'm stoked. I mean, he's just phenomenal. He's a great person. And like you said, he's the play-by-play of the Philadelphia Flyers. It's a phenomenal get. I think Flyers fans are really going to like it, especially when it leads up to training camp and stuff.
So look forward to that. As we get more information, I'm still in contact with him. He's going to let me know over the next few days what works for him because he just came back from vacation. So he's doing his own thing right now. So once he gets his schedule situated, he's going to get in contact with me, and we will be having Jim Jackson, your voice of the Philadelphia Flyers, on the podcast. Get ready, folks. This is going to be fun. But with all that being said, that is going to wrap it up for our 50th episode of Flyera Gonna Flyera. Tune in, episode 51. Date is still to be determined. I don't know if we're going to do it 2 or 3 weeks from now as we kind of transition to training camp, because the DPWM group is going on a little bit of a vacation for roughly 3 weeks starting last week. So as we find out more, I'll let you know when we're back on social media. So check out for that. Might be like I said, could be 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Not sure yet, but we will be back very soon. But listen, guys, this is a blast. Had a great time recording this episode with you today. Jamey, any final thoughts before we move on?
Flyers fans, we love you guys. Thanks for all your support. Look out for rookie camp here. Rookies are trickling in. The vets are coming back. Couturier should be back in town. Konechny should be back in town, as well. Look for Tyson Forster to be back in town. Look for Owen Tippett to come back. He usually comes back at the end of August. Denver Barkey should be there sometime this week. Oliver Punk's been in town all throughout the entire summer. It's just been great. Great show, great people. Flyers fans, we love you.
And with all that being said, that's going to wrap up this episode. Look forward to seeing you next time. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, let's go Flyers.
Thanks, everybody, for the 50. Looking forward to the next 50.